Well, 2016 was a great year for small caps, and then what we saw in December after the election was you had the Trump trade, and there was great expectation for a lot of tax reform, tax repatriation. You know, that's taken a lot longer than I think the market expected, but we're coming back into that period where some of those elements are going to probably have some clarity, and we think the small caps are beginning to benefit from that. Repatriation is going to probably cause a lot more M&A in the marketplace as companies like Cisco or HPE bring money back on shore and try to buy growth, which really exists in the small mid-cap area.
So you don't think that the tax cuts are necessarily what's going to be driving growth for the smaller businesses, but because the big companies will do so well with repatriation, that in turn will...
Probably a bigger driver for the asset class. A lot of them are non-taxpayers anyway because they're in high growth periods, they've got NOLs, so the lower tax bracket really won't help. The older economy, small cap companies, great, they'll do better where they're paying high tax rates in middle America and in California. But I think that repatriation for technology companies, where we spend a lot of our time, that'll be the bigger driver.
All right, we'll talk about names in just a moment. But Karyn, let's get your thoughts just on the broader markets right now. We did see an update yesterday for the markets, but if we actually managed to put together a second day of gains today, that's going to be the first time in a couple of weeks that we've seen back-to-back gains for both the Dow and the NASDAQ. People have been wondering if things are kind of petering out, if we're hitting some sort of a plateau. What do you think?
I don't think we're hitting a plateau at all. We have a pro-growth administration. We're looking at tax reform. It will happen. Earnings were double what we expected them to be at the beginning of the quarter. We had over 6% earnings growth. Things look better for the fourth quarter. We have a global synchronized expansion with all developed economies moving forward. So I think things are just going to be getting better. And once we get that tax reform, the market is going to take off. Investors are going to be caught unaware, saying, wow, where did that come from? Well, it's already in the works. So I think we're going to see some very good things for the rest of the year and into 2018.
That was a long laundry list, though, not just tax reform. If tax reform, for some reason, doesn't go through, you're still pretty positive on the prospects for stocks, correct?
Right, because we're so centric about tax reform here in the United States, but I think investors are missing that there is a global synchronized expansion going on. The numbers we're seeing, the third quarter at Germany, 0.8% growth. Even Poland had its best quarter in 5 years. China is holding its own. We're seeing good numbers out of Japan. I mean, this is a global synchronized expansion, so earnings are really going to be the benefactor of that, and I think that investors are too much concentrated on what's going on here in the United States, taking a look at all the wrangling with tax reform, and they're missing that.
Chris, let's talk about some of the specific areas in high tech. You mentioned small caps. I know Karyn likes some of the small caps too, but mention very specifically the ones that you like in technology because of the prospect of takeover targets.
Yeah, look, software security continues to remain a hot spot. I mean, you were talking earlier about cryptocurrency being hacked and stolen. Companies are not protected enough. We saw last night earnings with Palo Alto Networks trading up very nicely. We think the whole sector should do well. One company we like is FireEye. We love the management team, entrepreneur who's running it. We think that his heart is in that company. That's the type of investing we want to do. Other areas we think are the optical space. The Chinese Congress has just ended. Trump is back from China. We think there's going to be some significant orders out as they build out their 5G and optical networks. That may take a couple quarters, but we think there's a lot of value in the optical names right now, and also potential consolidation in that space.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.